Hey you guys, live from Rio, from my apartment in Ipanema. Let me just put you down for a sec. Yeah. So I just came off a call with an expat who is obviously living abroad and she has a really good job over there. But she's miserable. And I recognize so much of her story from my own life, and I've heard it several times from other expats already, that I figured, you know what, I'm just going to create a short video around this and tell you the advice that I gave to her as well, the advice that I would give to my former self. So let me share with you her situation, keeping it anonymously, obviously. So she's an expat, as I said, in this really good job. She's really good at it. The company relies a lot on her, but she comes home feeling miserable, exhausted, like she has no physical energy left to do even like to take care of herself because she works 10-12 hours a day. She has no mental energy left. She doesn't feel any space or energy to, make time for her hobbies or work on her creative side or just do something for herself. So she's just basically, she has become her job. And even things, the basic things like taking care of herself, cooking and other things are difficult for her because she has zero energy. Her tank is empty at the end of the day. And she knows that this job isn't for her. The environment is pretty toxic. Her manager is pretty toxic. And she knows she needs to leave. But at the same time, she's like, I don't know what else to do. The company's really reliant on me. I don't want to just burn my bridges. Do I even want to stay in this country? I have a relationship here, but I'm not even sure if, this person is the right person for me. And so she, deep down, she knows that she needs to leave, but making that decision is going to affect so many other areas of her life, and that she doesn't know what is going to be the right decision. And so she just freezes. Meanwhile, she continues to pour everything that she has in her job and not taking care of herself. So she just feels more miserable and more miserable with every day or every week. And obviously, if you feel this way, you're not going to be in the right state of mind to make any life-changing decision. So what I recognized in her, this is not super comfortable, but let's just do it like this. What I recognized in her, story time, I was living in London in 2014. It was late 2014, and I remember being so miserable in my own job as well. I had weekly deadlines every Tuesday that I was like solely responsible for, and I felt a lot of pressure from my colleagues and from just the work environment to really perform well at these deadlines. I'm not going to go into details, but these deadlines were a bit tricky. And so on Sunday morning, I would wake up feeling so incredibly stressed, and I would work Sunday mornings at a coffee shop somewhere just to get ahead of the week so I could meet my Tuesday deadlines. And other people were involved with these deadlines, so they always had to wait till I was ready on Tuesday evening. So I just felt more and more pressure to deliver and to perform because I knew I was making people wait. Anyway, with every week that passed, I just felt more miserable, exactly like the expat I was just talking to. And so I would get home from work, my whole body would be hurting, aching, like I didn't have the physical energy to even cook. Like I would just lay on the couch and eventually I would cook, but oh my God, it took the last effort I had in me, my last energy. And the rest of the evening, I would just be tired and anxious for the next day and the next week. And so this was like a vicious cycle that wasn't going to end well. And I knew something needed to change, but I just felt so lost and so stuck at the same time and just paralyzed because I didn't feel I was capable to make any change in my life. And so this person felt the same way. So the advice that I had for her and for my past self is that if you are in this state of complete overwhelm and paralysis and you feel so incredibly stuck and you are exhausted as the first thing you need to work on is your energy levels. So yes, you know that this situation needs to change. You need to make a different decision. You need to change something in your life because this isn't sustainable. But I want you to leave that pressure of making a change outside of your scope for a little bit. Because the first thing you need to focus on is increasing your physical and mental energy levels. Because if these aren't good enough, high enough to support you in your daily life, then there's no way you're going to feel good enough to make any life-changing decision, like I said. So imagine just if you are overwhelmed by stress, are you then in the right position to make a decision about your career? No. If you experience so much stress or conflict or something else in your life, this is eating you from the inside out, and this leaves you with very little headspace to make changes that are truly aligned with who you really are coming from the inside. Now, you might feel like you're making the right decision because you're forced by stress to do something, but this may not always bring you the change that you want. So my advice for her, for my old self, and for you if you find yourself in this situation, is to really work on your energy levels. Now, how do you do this? I think first and foremost, you need to start with your physical energy levels. If you arrive so exhausted from your work that you can't even cook, you're setting yourself up for burnout, seriously, or something else. I don't know, physical burnout, mental burnout. So you need to work on your physical energy levels first. So that means going back to the basics. So that means taking care of yourself with healthy cooking. If you don't have the energy to cook, then order something in, but make it healthy. Make sure you get enough sleep. If you cannot sleep because you're stressed, go to your doctor to make sure you can sleep. Put your phone away at night. Start meditating, like do that kind of stuff to help you sleep better, because sleep is essential, and I'm speaking from experience. Those are some elementary things that you have to start with. You need to start exercising even though you don't feel like you have the energy to do that. This is so important. You need to do something with your body to get that energy back. And another thing that is crucial, but which is often forgotten when, well, at least with my high achieving expats that I coach, you need to seek support and you need to connect to people that you trust. Because what happens when we don't feel good, well, at least I do this and a lot of people that I know, is that we tend to retreat, we isolate, because we don't want others to see we are hurting, we don't want to be a burden to others, we're not used to asking for support, so we just kind of retreat, we stay in more often, we just do our little thing, we say no to the parties because we don't have energy for it, and so you become more and more isolated. And while that may feel good in that moment or the natural thing to do, this is, again, not good for you in the longer term, because we human beings are social beings, and so we need to engage with other people. And I'm not an extrovert, but I also know that it's important for me to engage with people from time to time. But I especially remind myself of this when I am not feeling well, because it's my tendency too to just like retreat. And so if you are in this position of like exhaustion and overwhelm and paralysis and you just don't know what to do with your life, go meet your friends that you really trust. And I emphasize trust because often when you are in a situation of exhaustion, which is caused by your job, there's a lot of conflict or mistrust or anxiety going on in that area of your life. And so if that is going on, it almost automatically means there's no trust there. And so you need to find people, or you need to engage with the people that you trust and really receive support and love from them. Don't forget how important it is to have that social connection, to feel that we are surrounded, we are loved, we are supported. And when you're not feeling good, you need to remind yourself even more of it, that you can engage with other people. Now, this can be hard if you're an expat and you've just moved there and you don't know a lot of people. But in that case, find the support online. Have daily calls with your family. And maybe there's one good friend that you can be more vulnerable with in a new country, just so you have that social support that you really, really need in this phase. Okay, that is the physical part, although the social stuff is not really about physical energy, but okay. Now I want to move to the mental energy, which is just as important as well. And that is that you really need to get out of a vicious thinking loop that you probably created in your head. So if you are in this position, the exhaustion, and you got zero mental space to think about your life, you're just stuck in paralysis, then you need to get out of a thinking loop. And probably you've created a lot of negative thoughts around your situation, or maybe even around yourself. And what is super important here is that you become aware of your thoughts, and whenever they are negative or not serving you, that you change them for something that is supportive and empowering. This is key, because your thoughts really create your feelings. Your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions determine your reality. So it starts with your beliefs and thoughts that you have around yourself or about the world. So that's crucial as well. And to get more mental energy, you also need to detach a little bit more from your work. And I know how difficult that is if you're so caught up in it, if you fell into this black hole that you cannot get out of. But you need to detach yourself from it. And you can do that by adding more fun to your life. And I know this, when you are that exhausted, you don't feel the energy, mental or physical energy, to do anything fun. It's easier to say no and stay at home. But from experience, I also know how important it is to add a little bit of fun and play to your life, to have that lightness in your life, because it already feels so heavy already, doesn't it? So that is something you can do to increase your mental energy levels as well. So in short, make sure your basic needs are met. Take care of yourself by eating healthily, by exercising, by sleeping. Make sure you're surrounded by people that you trust, and add more fun and play to your life, and detach a little bit from work, and make sure you reframe your thoughts into something that is really more positive and empowering. That is a long advice, but that is what I would do. That's what I told my coachee. That's what I would tell my former self, and that is what I would tell you if you're just stuck in overwhelm and you really cannot get out of that loop that you somehow created in your life. Make sure to tick off those boxes. That's the first thing you need to focus on. Everything else, what you're going to do with your life, what decision is the best for you, that's later concern. You first need to increase your energy levels so you're in the right state of mind to think about your life going forward. Okay, I hope this was helpful. And by the way, if you want to avoid getting into this situation of overwhelm and stuckness, then my new course Touch Base is for you, because in that course I teach you how you can feel grounded in your expat life wherever you go on a daily basis. And if you feel grounded in your expat life, you're not going to end up in this position that we just talked about. So check the show notes below to see how you can join. Talk to you soon.